this is a useless piece of information. This information that is now churning out is of no relevance to anybody within the civil society organization space. Supposing he shared this information in 2018 August, it will have provided us with a greater scope of options, decisions to choose from. It could have helped to identify alternative solutions to the Ameri problem. We asked Mr. Boakye Agyako'S in August 2018 to speak at that time or forever hold his peace. You can check that online. It was published by City FM. 5 years down the line, I beg to say that that information is useless.
You're suggesting that it would have been relevant at the time, but at this time,
Senna, as we all know, if you want to judge whether an information is of relevance or carry any significance, you have to gauge it against some few characteristics. And this includes timeliness, accuracy, completeness. And information must be current and must be made available to relevant users at an appropriate time. This is necessary to reduce uncertainty. And most importantly, Senna, so that important decisions can be made in time. And so on the score of the timeliness, we have missed it. Again, an information must be accurate, and that is to say that it must be free of error or deception. That information must be fair and not biased. We cannot see this. We have no reason to say that this information is fair. Also, an information must be complete, which means that when you make a claim, it must be backed with facts, figures, evidence. You claim they sent you an email, you open the email, you challenge the email. If it's ready to put out those things, then of course it may open another discussion. Then it must be relevant to the users. Any information given out must be relevant to the users. It must be relevant to the person that the information is given. We are asking who was that information at the time that was talking. Who were they talking to? Who was he talking to? To Ghanaians or to delegates? He was talking to delegates on a political platform, then maybe it may endure to his advantage that state to score a political point. But if for civil society organizations, I tell you, this is belated. Let's discuss this. I wish we could discuss other more important issues.
But does it also not answer the question as to why he resigned in the manner he did?
He chose to take up the hook, and he was hanged. We knew very well, even before he resigned. In fact, we had been approached that a conversation must be had because this was happening. And so we are following all the procedures that we didn't attend to the invitation. But that morning, while he was at the Flagstaff House, we understood whatever was going on. Even at 5 p.m., you can check with City FM. We told them that he has an option to resign or be sacked. And we believe that within 24 hours, he may either be sacked or he will resign. After 2 hours, at 7 p.m. that day, he resigned. And so we believe that at that point, between that morning and the 7 p.m., if he had any additional information that would be good for, to advance his case, he could have shared it. Why not? Why now? You are now courting for, people's sympathy because you are on a political campaign platform. Then it is of no relevance. It won't change anything today. But at the time, if you had told everybody that these and these are also in the loop and these are the evidence, come on, we'll call for their heads. We'll ask the president to direct his attention very well. But everybody was happy when Mr. Boakye Agyako'S resigned because that was the evidence at hand. People need information to make decisions. And on the face of the pink sheet, this is what we understood. But if we had any further and better particulars that today is sharing, the discussion could have been different. And so that was a choice he made, and he must live with that.
Then there's the point where he's even talking about what they were doing as against what was being done. He asked the question, because at the time people were saying, if you look at the final contract that they were sending to Parliament and what was existent, it was very expensive. Now, he asked the question, how can you say 4.25 cents a kilowatt being reduced to he's saying that how can you say 11.7195 cents a kilowatt hour was more expensive than 14.25 cents a kilowatt hour? What was the issue?
He's just bundling with figures, but then you look at not just the letters but the spirits. You know, Ameri was on BOT basis that they are building, operating, they will own it and operate and transfer to Ghana after 5 years. We have almost done 3 years down the line. We're left with 2 years to own it. Why would you negotiate and extend the period of operation for Ameri or Metka? Why will you do that? If you allow that thing to pass, today we'll have been paying money to somebody when we now own the plant. Today we own the Ameri plant. Then is it not true?
Yes, we do.
We own the plant, 250 megawatts. We can deploy it at any time. In fact, if Ameri doesn't come online by early next year, and if no additional capacity is added to our generation, we'll see doomsday by mid of next year. Today, Ameri is in our hands. We own it as Ghanaians. What was the sense in trying to extend it for 10 years or whatever years? It didn't make sense. And in his computation of the 11 point whatever, look, it was not grounded on facts. We challenge it. And you know, IES and ASTEP and the rest, we don't work in a vacuum. We work with people. We coordinated that very, occurrence around Ameri and all that. We knew exactly what time VRS staff were going to release their statement. And if they did not release it at that point, something could have changed. And so it was not just about figures. It was something built by somebody with the intention that we will own it after 5 years. You come and you want to extend it for 10 years. For what?
So as far as you're concerned, everything he said may be great for the delegates, but doesn't help civil society in any way.
What do we need this information for today, Senna? To go after, what's the name? Atachia and other man. For what? We have other more important issues to deal with today. That if we don't manage the revenue stream in the power sector, we will see doomsday next year. If we don't add on to the capacity, we will see doomsday before end of next year. Who is comfortable with doomsday? If we don't put Ameri online by next year, it will impact on us negatively as a country. It should bring answers to this. It should raise questions in these areas. Then, of course, that's more progressive than what is bringing. This statement is not progressive statement.
I asked a question on Ameri before we end. But I also wanted to find out from you. I've heard you on a couple of times raise questions about the way the power sector is being managed currently. Does this not give you an idea why the mismanagement you are complaining about has persisted? That some of the players involved are players maybe perhaps who have no business, like in the case of the narration he made about Gabi Ochridako, Attach's reaction, that some of the players have no business being in there, but they are in there for whatever interest they are in there for. That's why you keep raising these issues about the manner in which the power sector is going.
Well, for every working system, you definitely need competent hands to work around it. We all understand very well this is not, a closed door secret that the power sector is not being handled well, and we are sitting on a time bomb. That today we are confronted with two challenges. That is how our revenue is being from the power sector is being handled and being managed, and also the possible, undercapacity we'll see next year. When the World Bank Director of Operation, I guess, or Head of Operation was talking, people were saying that, look, he's saying we should build something, a system where we'll collect all the money in there and distribute fairly and whatever, and that we already have the cash waterfall system. Yes, we have it, but is it working effectively? It is not working. Today, the amount of revenue received at the end of the supply chain from the distributors, ECG, is woefully inadequate to cover all the costs incurred within the supply chain, from fuel supply to power generation, power transmission, and to the distributors themselves. We cannot recover all the costs because we are still operating to a large extent a post-paid metering system. We still have inefficiency in the distribution chain, technical losses. We are unable to collect the revenue from customers as we should. And so what we collect into the cash waterfall system, if it exists today, I don't know, it's woefully inadequate. And we are tempted to believe that some of the same revenue, which is inadequate, is misdirected to other sources. These are issues that we need to discuss. We understand very well that we've sat down as a country crying woof, 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 woof. And the day the real woof will come, will be called pants down. We'll be calling, saying, reciting excess capacity, excess capacity, excess capacity. Remember the day that our good brother, the new minister, energy minister, was introduced. Within the same week, he made a pronouncement that if we don't increase capacity within the next 2 years, we'll have challenges. He recited something different from what has been said over the past 7 years, that there is this capacity. It doesn't take 1 year to build a plant. It is not easy. Unless, of course, you are going to bring a floating plant. A plant like something like our power ship on a vessel, and you are just coming to plug in onto the transmission line, fine. But if you're going to build on land, I tell you, it won't take less than 2 years to do that. And so the earlier we move, the better. If we still mean to move Ameri to Kumasi, quickly we must work the right framework to get it ready by early next year.
Is that why Ameri is not on stream?
We can't tell why Ameri is not on stream today. The information that we have as county, and in fact we are delving in. We understand there were procurement issues, even with the movement of the Ameri to Kumasi, as to who will have that contract. As another thing that delaying the whole process. When for us, we are not even convinced that if you move Ameri to Kumasi, it will deal with the low voltage issues that we have in Kumasi. We have not worked out that technicalities. We only pray that it meets that expectation, because 250 megawatts is inadequate for the middle belt and northern belt to see any sustenance in voltage, if that's what it's meant to address. But this is just the beginning. Let's see how it goes.
Thank you, Nana, for speaking to us this morning.
I'm grateful for having me this morning. Good morning to you and to your listeners.
Same to you, Nana. Nana Amwesi the 7th is Executive Director of the Institute for Energy Security, speaking to us on this Boakye Agyako'S matter, taking us to 10 minutes past 8 here in the studios of Radio Gold 90.5 FM. We'll take you to Parliament shortly. Meshach Tetekoman is joining us. Nuruddin Idrisu Adamu, good morning to you. Good morning to, what do you call it? Solomon Ashi, Kobe Weiss, says a good morning. MPP is not a political party. Their nation records with swindling and looting in their DNA. There's also Godfred Daglomote, Ghana Vadam, Holala Mustafa, Godfred Daglomote, Jang Matthew Floss, saying a good morning to us from Abu Dhabi. August